And we are in another beautiful segment right here on Unity Live Radio. And we have with us a special person over there in Maryland. She is indeed a book author. And let's see what else. She had a phenomenal testimony from a interrupting past. And of course, this caused her to write this beautiful book, Grief, Growth, and Gratitude. It's her testimony, and she's here to share. I am talking about Caitlin Burr. We welcome you, Miss Burr. How are you doing? Welcome to the Lady Tracy Show.
Hi, how are you doing today?
It's a beautiful one, and I am privileged to hear your story and, of course, the inspiration behind this new release. But before we get into the book, Kathleen, can you tell us a little bit about who you are?
Yes, so my name is Caitlin Burr. I am from Maryland. I'm maybe about 25 minutes outside of Baltimore, Maryland. I was born in DC and raised in Maryland. This is my first book, so I am newly into the author world, and I'm pretty down to earth, and I was just inspired to write this book, and I'm just here to share it with people in hopes to help people in their lives going through different events in their lives. So
wow, thank you so much. I mean, just looking at your testimony, I was inspired just listening to, what caused you to write this book. And I'm sure persons want to hear about it. But before we go, can you tell us, Kathleen, when did you actually figure that you were an author?
So it's interesting enough, the seed was planted in me. Like I kind of feel like I was inspired, years ago. For the name of the book came to me years ago, and I started writing it in the course that I was going through, like my grief period. However, I didn't complete it until last year. So the idea came to me years ago, but I guess the book is basically like my journey. So it's a course over the years. So I wasn't able to complete that book until last year because I wasn't able to fit everything that I had learned in my journey until then. So that's that's how it all came about.
Wow, interesting. Well, oftentimes that's how it works for authors. It's something that they experience that caused them to write, and you never knew until you just put the pens and paper together. All right, now, Ketchen, let's get to the book. All right, you mentioned that it was your mom passing away, and because of the tragedy that it gave you this unction to write Grief, Growth, and Gratitude. But can you tell us the real inspiration behind this book?
Yeah. So initially, when my mom passed away, when my mom passed away, it was a very traumatic event. Any loss in your life is traumatic. But it was a big turning point in my life. I lost my mom when I was fairly young. And at that time, it was like an initial shock to my life. And the book goes into basically the grief. So I talk about, like in the beginning of the book, of all the emotions that come with grief and with a loss. And then I don't want to just give away the entire book, but then there were other events that occurred, like a domino effect after my mom, losing my mom. So I was grieving a lot of different things after her passing. Her passing was like the turning point in my life. And at that time, I hit a really, really low point, losing her. And then I had a domino effect of other things that had occurred. But then the book turns into a positive outlook later on. So I talk about the grief, I talk about the trauma, I talk about the pain, but then I talk about the growth, and I go into aspects of what made me heal myself. And then gratitude turns into basically how initially I looked at grief as like my enemy at first, right? You go through that trauma, you go through that pain, and it hurts. And
Right.
But then, because I was able to heal and go through this journey, gratitude, I actually will share one of my favorite chapters in the book is called Dear Grief, Thank You. And Dear Grief, Thank You is basically a chapter of me thanking grief, not thinking of like of course, the loss is always going to hurt, and the loss is always not an easy thing to go through. But as far as like, it showed me that it's possible to heal from losses and trauma and pain, and you're strong, and there is a new beginning for yourself, and basically healing different aspects of grief.
Wow, thank you so much. This is interesting, Kathleen. Now, what would you say your readers would benefit from reading this book? How would you say they would benefit from it, reading your book?
Well, I would say that the readers would benefit from it because it's a unique perspective. It's not just a loss of someone; it's also a loss of. I look at grief when I wrote the book, and now I read back to it. I look at a grief as different aspects. There's loss of a parent. There's a loss of relationships. There's a loss of a relative. And I go actually into talking about losing I want to quote it as your old self. So when we go through, I look at grief as like, or a trauma or pain, we're a different person. We're hurt, we're looking for love. We're looking for healing. We're looking for inspiration. We're looking for that. And I believe that like the book explains like the emotion that we probably all relate to. It just may look different based on the loss, but it also I believe that the book gives people hope that even though I may be going through this tough period in my life, these are some things that can help people heal, and it can really bring a positive outlook later down the line. That grief, that pain does not last forever.
Right.
And just giving people that hope of a new beginning for themselves after any type of loss, whether it's a loss of a loved one, it's a loss of a relationship, it's loss of your old self. You want to become a better person overall and not be, not feel like grief is consuming you.
Kathleen, this is beautiful. And what I would like to say is that I think that you did a great job. Not everyone would write out of this, especially losing your mom or your dad. These are personal, personal experiences to go through, and I really want to applaud you, and I'm sure mom would be proud to see her daughter today, blessing others with her work and their testimony. So good job on that. Now, if persons want to get Grief, Growth, and Gratitude, Kathleen, where can they go to get this book, and what's the cost for it?
So it's currently available on Amazon. In Amazon, it's available, I believe. It's available in the UK. I know that for sure. It's also available in Canada. I'm not sure other places, but it is available on Amazon. The hardcover is on sale for about $17 right now. The paperback is on sale for about $13, and it's also available on ebook.
Beautiful.
And yes, and if you're also in the United States, it's available at Target online, Walmart online, and Barnes and Noble.
Perfect. All right. Is there anyone you'd like to acknowledge before you go?
I would definitely I want to just give thanks to God for giving me the seed from this years ago. And then I also just want to dedicate it to my mother. It was really written for her. And I just pray and hope that it reaches a lot of people out there. It inspires people, it gives people hope, and it always just brings them some peace in their lives. So.
Awesome, beautiful. Now, Kathleen, one last thing before you go. What's next for Kathleen? What can we expect? Are you going to write another one, or this is it?
No, actually, I do plan to write a new book in the future. I'm not sure exactly when, but the unique thing about my book is I'm actually going through another healing journey right now in my life. Okay. And I just feel like my book will always help you go back into, that journey back into love. So yeah, in the future, I'm going to write new books. So I'm praying and hoping that people enjoy it and follow my journey in writing.
Awesome. And that's perfect. That's perfect therapy, using your work to just deal with everything that life throws at you. I mean, that's smart.
Absolutely.
Good job. All right. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, our very own Caitlin Burr over there in Maryland, USA. She was here with us as a book author to share her testimony behind her new release, Grief, Growth, and Gratitude. And I want you to go and get it. She mentioned it's on Amazon and other social platforms. Thank you for being with us, Kathleen. It was a pleasure having you on the Lady Tracy Show. We look forward to hear more of you in the coming future.
Thank you. Have a great day.
All right.